Thanks for tuning into the Pre-Patch Podcast. Check out these patch notes.
PlayStation is ending its Twitch or Twitter and X integration.
It's a weird thing,
November
man.
13th, this coming up week. So
Yeah, it's a weird one. I don't know what prompted the shift away from support
And
from
this
it.
is just like the Twitter X app on PlayStation.
Yeah, so the thing that changed is you're not able to send screenshots or videos directly from your PlayStation to Twitter/X. You can still do stuff with it from the PlayStation app, but you got to download it. You got to send it through the cloud to the PlayStation app, and then you can send it from the PlayStation app wherever you want it to go.
Who's really doing that too? Because that's so
it's a
convoluted.
Yeah, they just made another step to
Yeah.
do stuff. I don't understand
It's
why
very
this,
random.
unless
also-
Sony is making like some behind the scenes deal with a different social media platform.
Like who?
I don't know, Instagram.
That'd
That's
be
the
so
only
weird.
that's the only other one I can think of, or Threads.
Can't even
I don't see him
imagine.
doing threads, man. I don't
No,
know.
Thread-
About
I don't
that
even
one, yeah.
think Threads is Threads even still a thing? Like, do people even still
It's
go to
It's
still
Threads?
still a
a
thing.
thing.
It is.
Well,
I mean,
definitely
I
still
have
a
it on
thing.
my phone, but like
It
I don't
died
know.
fast.
Yeah, it was like, wait, what? Like, why
It was
is
never
this
going
here?
to go anywhere to begin with, but yeah.
You know it's doing bad whenever like I'm scrolling through Instagram and it has like a Threads bar like showing like tickers from like people posting on Threads to try to get you to go to the site. Like I
Yeah.
understand it's owned by Facebook and stuff, but still it's weird.
I just
I
want.
have
I'm
no clue what the
curious.
play is with this.
I'm-
This seems
I'm
odd.
curious if this was PlayStation or if this was X.
Well, so here's the
possibly,
thing.
Going to PlayStation and being like, hey, if you want to post directly from PlayStation, you need to pay us some money or something.
Well, here's the thing. Like a lot of these sites and a lot of these companies, integration stuff like this, they used free APIs that when
Yeah.
when they went from Twitter to X, it fucked up a lot of shit. Which
Well, it's not when they went from Twitter to X. It's when he started pushing down that route of fighting against bots. That's when they started. That's why, like, when we post stories in the podcast chat, there's no longer
Yeah,
embeds.
there's no embeds,
That's
yeah.
why is because Elon was fighting back against bots
you-
and
you-
not
you
having
could-
embeds fights against bots.
You could be onto something because Elon he's making
He's-
and coming up with all these ways to mitigate these bots, and
Yeah.
one of them that is, I guess, allegedly coming out is that eventually everyone is going to have to pay a minimum flat rate fee of $1, I think, a
Well,
month or something.
no,
to
that's
use it.
that's
I
not
heard something
that's
about
not
that.
true. Yeah, that's not true. He
Was that
he
not?
mentioned something. He mentioned that could be a possibility, but that they would never go down that route simply because
I
they don't
don't
feel
know.
like it would be the best option.
I heard
It's-
that.
it's-
but
it's-
then
it's
I
in
heard
the-
them
it's-
saying that it might actually happen.
No,
Something
it's
else
it's
came
in
out
the
after.
interview. It's in the interview that he had. There was an interview where they were talking about bots and how they were fighting against that. And he basically came up with he was like on the spot. He was like, well, really, the only way that we could possibly fight against bots, every bot would be to charge like a very low fee.
No,
You
I
know,
know that.
and then people took
but
that out of
there-
context.
No, I know that. That was a while ago, but something more recently came up saying that might actually be going into effect though.
it was just a rumor, though.
I-
It was
I
it was
don't
it was a
know.
I'm gonna
rumor.
Find it on.
It was
on
a.
this
I know what you're
cast,
talking
but-
about. It was. I saw it. It was a rumor. So it kicked off. What brought it back up was he had an interview with Joe Rogan and
Yeah.
just recently again, and Joe Rogan and them were talking about this, and it referenced that interview, referencing a farther back interview where he talked about
Yeah.
that's the true way of
Yeah,
stopping bots. And then everybody was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna charge!" And he
Yeah.
was, and then it was like, "This is just a rumor. Nothing is like
It's
confirmed."
it's not
just
true.
a rumor. Okay.
Every one of them that he's ever said about that, it's always been like a huge like hypothetical of what the only way that he can think of would be to get rid of bots completely, and that's like his only hypothetical way of doing it. But I don't really feel like, because that would be suicide for Twitter.
It-
Like
it would be.
forcing people to pay even if it's just like 99 cents for a month, that would be suicide for Twitter. And I don't think that he's that stupid.
Yeah, I
It
did
would be
hear that they were also
ridiculous.
getting rid of hashtags here soon.
I wouldn't doubt that.
And that might
Hashtags
be-
haven't been really they haven't really. I mean, they're used on a regular basis, but really it's
Do they
one
do
of those things where it's an
anything?
yeah.
it's an arbitrary
always-
thing from the past.
Yeah.
Really,
It's like tags
lifelong
on
question,
YouTube.
yeah.
They're there,
Yeah.
but I don't think they actually do much.
Do
I
they
mean,
actually affect
they
anything in
do.
the algorithm? I don't
They
know.
do, and it's for people that still use hashtags and still use those specific tabs and everything like that. Like you can find things easier, but like the algorithms that these sites have, like YouTube has, and like X or Twitter has, you don't have to use hashtags anymore. You can just type in the term that you're looking for, and it'll bring
Right.
you all the relative information that you want to see on that terminology. Right. So
Right. So
it's very archaic. It's a thing of the past, and I wouldn't doubt that that they would get rid of it, because I don't think that it's used correctly anymore.
right.
Hey,
So
that-
do we
that-
think this is a PlayStation thing or a Twitter thing?
No, it's a Twitter
This-
thing. I think it's an API and thing, and I think it broke, and I think it they don't want to take the time to go back and fix it. I think they're just like, fuck it, it's not
why,
really worth
why
it.
can't they? Do you think it's just an issue conflicting with the PlayStation software, and that's why you can use the app because it's
I
mobile
think-
to mobile?
Yeah, like I think that there's like I'm telling you this from my career, my job. Like there is a huge issue with like when immediately they made that switch from Twitter to X. Like it caught like they hadn't even
Yeah, it
integrated.
caused a
They
lot of
haven't even
APIs.
integrated like
Yeah.
the whole bot system. This was just like an API crash, and like shit went down for months and months and months. And then on top of that, like it was I think him combating, saying, hey, like you need to have paid APIs for this to work, and they're all this. So I think because it is mobile to mobile, like there is some stuff, but I also think that PlayStation's like, dude, they had to have looked at numbers and been like, nobody fucking cares about this. Like, is this really something? I think
Yeah, I'm
I think
curious how many
PlayStation is.
times that is used on a PlayStation to begin with. Like me personally, granted, this is coming from a
Nintendo lover. You got it.
yeah. This is coming from a stance of like I don't really use Twitter all that much, but like I just looked at this whatever you just posted.
Yeah, so sorry, they are testing it in the Philippines. $1 a year to write posts or whatever, and that is
Huh.
confirmed by Elon Musk.
Interesting. Yeah.
So sorry.
I'm-
I knew I wasn't crazy.
I can't.
Well, they said you were
I can't
crazy.
remember what I was.
Crazy, what's
I
else
can't
crazy?
remember what I was
in
gonna
my
say
mind, I'm
now.
like, I know I saw something, but yeah, no, that's what I saw. It's they're testing in the Philippines and
Was-
New Zealand or something, that they're
Oh,
charging $1 a year to write tweets, but reading them is free. And it is just
Yeah,
a way
this-
to try and stop bots.
this is coming
Um,
from somebody that doesn't really use Twitter to begin with for
Yeah.
much more than just like keeping up with you guys. But like, I can't imagine like going on your PlayStation being like, "Oh man, that was such a sick fucking 360 no scope. I'm gonna post that to X." Yeah.
Well, this all. I mean,
I'm
sure
this
there is a
this
seems
minority
weird,
of,
man.
A group of people that do that.
Well,
though. I mean,
this all came and around, and why it became popular and why it became a thing was back when you look at like the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4 days of being like, oh, you can stream right from your console. Oh, you can, so it was just like ways of making your console your all-in-one device in a way, and now
I mean,
it's
Stream directly from your consoles, but this
right. But I'm just saying that's where this was burst, and then it was like, now it has become it's futile. Like I do not see a huge audience, and so I think Sony is like, we have more important shit to worry about than making this function. And
Yeah.
Twitter's like, okay, like we don't care. So
Yeah, they just didn't want to keep up with the updating.
and
Yes.
talking about fires and things like that PlayStation is kind of concerned about. We've talked about live service. Sony has been very adamant about their live service kind of strategy and where it's going or not going. And Sony's pushing back on its live service game ambitions, basically saying that it now expects to release 6 new live service titles by March of 2026. Half of what it was previously planned.
Yeah.
Both sides of the fields are saying see, they're still caring about live service, and the other side is saying they just cut half of their live service games.
Yeah, this is definitely a good thing. This
Yeah,
is a
for sure.
benefit to Sony, and I think this is a more damning thing about just how much Jim Ryan was pushing this kind of stuff and how much of a backer he was on this. I genuinely believe him being out is the best thing that could have happened to Sony Studios.
Oh,
and
yeah.
this-
Yeah. I mean,
this
we've
further
said that from
cem-
the start.
yeah, but
right?
this just further cements that theory.
For sure. Yeah, we've said it from the start, from a long time ago. Like even when we first started this podcast, we've been against Jim Ryan's bullshit, man.
Oh, Jimmy Ryan.
He he really needed to like go like years ago. It's ridiculous what the direction that he pushed Sony, and I think that has hurt them this year. Honestly, like his direction and his leadership has definitely kind of fucked Sony over for this, in my opinion, this entire generation.
Yeah, I
pretty
mean,
much.
especially everything that he was saying in public too. Like, he had a loud mouth, bro.
I just,
Yeah,
he always
I will
has.
say, I mean, as I
And
am
live
not.
service games, to be fair, they're not inherently bad.
No, they're not.
There are some
It's-
decent live service games out there, and hopefully them reducing that workload down to 6 titles by the end of 2026. That's a long time frame that they can spread them out and hopefully give them proper support instead of just shotgunning live service
For
titles
sure.
out
Right,
there and
well,
hoping
that-
one of them takes off, because that was the original plan. Was you throw a million live service games out there, one of them's
Yeah.
bound to take off, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was gonna say is that it's a you know, the pendulum of game development is so funny because you can watch it happen. Like, you know, if you look back at when EverQuest and WoW came out and like it became popular. So what did everybody do? We got to do MMOs. Everybody was fucking MMOs, right? And now when was the last time we saw a new MMO? That's actually been good, right? Not like free to, whatever. It's been a long time. Then you had MOBAs, right? That had their scene when the international and League was taking off, and then it was fucking shooters, then it was BRs,
Survival
and
games.
then it's like survival games, and it's free to play, and whatever else. And I think
It's
live
like Cloud
service,
Chasers, but like for developers, like
Right.
they go wherever the audience is.
Vampire Survivors. Holy shit, how many of those have we seen clones of now?
yeah.
So live service, I will say I am a huge fan of live service games that are done well. I love live service games because I think that they add a lot of like value and longevity to games.
Because
But
he's a whale.
sure, I'm a
It
whale,
is,
but no, but legitimately, like I do
Yeah.
I prefer that live interaction, like playing with my friends, having a good time, and playing in a world where it feels
Yeah, but
connected
you
with
can
other
have
people.
that. You can have that without having
I'm
it
not
be a live
saying that
service
every game has to be live service. I'm agreeing with Bill. Like you shouldn't shove live service where it's not needed.
Yeah.
But what I would say is like the Last of Us factions or SOCOM, right? I hope we're not two casualties of this. I don't really care about the Last of Us factions part. Like I never cared that much about it, but people do, and people like
Yeah.
want it. But like SOCOM, I would love to see another SOCOM game come out that's actually done well. That's within the PlayStation franchise. It was a game that I grew up playing as a kid, and I don't want a single player only SOCOM. Like SOCOM was not about single player; it was about multiplayer. So
Yeah.
but I think this is a great step. I agree with you, Bill. Taking it and saying, hey, 6 studios, you guys are really going to focus in on this to make sure it's good, and done properly, I think is great. Like, I don't agree with adding a massive multiplayer game to Horizon. To me, that's like, why? Like, but maybe this is one of them that they're going to do and do really, really well with, so.
Thank you for checking out the Patch Notes. If you enjoyed this small selection from our podcast, come and join us every other Thursday at 10:30 p.m. Eastern for the full, unfiltered pre-patch podcast. And make sure you check out all of our past shows on anchor.fm/prepatch podcast.